simple offer at Osmosis AI. We build basically robot van drivers. So we can take your fleet and we can turn it into an autonomous fleet. We retrofit your fleet with our kit. It's that simple. We're quite aware of the issues surrounding the logistics industry. You've got a driver shortage. We already talked about how nobody wants to work inside a warehouse. Nobody really wants to work outside one either. Costs are going up. It costs an awful lot of money to solve these problems, and you've got somebody like Jeff Bezos creating his own version with his particular products. So the other solutions that you have to buy a really expensive, massive new truck that costs loads and loads of money. I mean, quite a lot more money than a standard vehicle. You've got to amortise what you've got in your fleet already over usually 10, 15 years if you've got a big truck, probably less than that if you've got a van, and it takes a long time to get those things to market because you've got to go through that process. What we do is we transform any vehicle to fully autonomous robotic driving. So it's fully autonomous, it's tele-robotic, it's fast deployment because you could just fit it. It takes a couple of hours to physically fit it, and then you have to teach your staff. It takes longer to teach your staff how to run it than it does for it to run. We currently have a demo working right now. The RAS model, which you may not have seen before, is robots as a service at the fully deployed end of £899 a month. It's fast fit and it can adapt to any vehicle. So, whilst this video does show you a nice actual humanoid robot, of course that's not what we're actually selling. We're selling accutators that clip on to the various parts of your vehicle. What have we got? Well, the business is, we think, it's basically any vehicle with all the four wheels. The four wheels or all the four wheels that is on the planet right now could be turned into an autonomous vehicle. 25% of the global car park, vehicle park, is commercial vehicles. We think that we could probably look at any commercial vehicle or bus in the EU, the US, or China, let's just say for starters. That's about 100 million vehicles. If we took 10% of that, or 25% of new vehicle sales, we'd be looking at about $100 billion a year, and 54 billion new customers every year. But we're very, very, very early stage. What we have is a working model. What we don't have really is a developed business. We don't have a sellable product. What we have is the need to develop that. So we're looking for £1 million right now. We have, as you'll see, a working prototype that drives itself around the streets of Fulham in London. Later on, when we develop this further, then we'll need further money, but this is a very, very low cost access proposition. What we have now, live demo, you can come and see it in Fulham tomorrow, well not tomorrow because I'll be here, but let's see it next week. We're going to do an industry test day, so we can demonstrate it to everybody in May. And we're looking at feasibility and gaining interest from clients, particularly gaining interest from investor clients at this point. In 2020, so this year, 2026, we'll be deploying to niche vehicles. We already have a contract to deploy in Amsterdam with a client who wants to have their advertising vehicle move around kind of public spaces. And we have 100 other people who are interested in this, particularly the UK Department for Defence is looking at various different test beds in Wales at the moment. We are signed up to that. We'll be gathering, during the process, gathering real-world data and developing our customer experience. In 2027, we are focusing on off-highway, so you can tell those sorts of things. It's in depots, it's in airports, it's in those sorts of places. This is where we get our later kit. We scale up, we get the homologation data, which is hard to say. It's almost as hard to say as it is to do. Homologation is obviously a key thing, but the UK government is moving very fast towards having proper, full-scale autonomous vehicles, and that's why we're in the UK. And then finally, in 2028, we'll be mid-mile. We'll be talking about having co-driving, we'll be talking about platooning, and full-scale customer acquisition. We think the value of this business is pretty massive, and I think you could probably see where this works. If we look here, you can see our little robot arm that we made ourselves. This is in our little facility in Fulham, and here's the team, and literally, this is the team. We are deploying to this Citroën Ami right now. That will, as you'll see in a second, it drives itself around entirely autonomously. You can see the program working there in the screen. And what we're looking for is investment to turn this into a genuine customer proposition. And that, along with this video, is the end of our presentation.
Perfect. Michael.
Yes.
Did I get you right? Are you trying to retrofit industrial cars? You're not working together with OEMs?
No OEMs at the moment. We will work with OEMs if they're interested, but it's so new we haven't done that conversation yet.
And can you tell us in some words what is in core, what makes your approach, which is not the only approach of course, what makes your approach so much different from other approaches and technologies?
Well, so a lot of people are approaching this from the idea of having huge amounts of technology to fit to a vehicle, which you need a huge roof rack, you need all this stuff. As you can see from the Citroën there isn't an enormous amount of stuff fitted to it. So this is a very, very easy retrofit, clip-on, make it work system. Because it's so easy to apply, we think that is what makes us particularly different.
And I would have a ton of questions. How much money do you reckon you need for a fully homologated certified product?
Well, I'm going to look at my list. I think around round 3, round 4, we'll have that kind of finished product. So we're talking about £8 to £10 million to develop the homologation version. Then it's, how far out do we go in terms of communication and spend on developing, creating factories in different countries and what have you to deliver it. But yeah, in terms of a homologated version, let's say 8 to 10 million.
So why does Waymo need 28 billion?
Yeah, it's a great question, isn't it?
Yeah.
They started really early, and they spent a lot of money doing stuff that we are just picking up. Thanks very much. I know that's very kind of you.
Yes, to develop the product we just mentioned, so you have a clear vision, a clear path. What do you expect to be the biggest challenge? Is it fundraising? Is it regulation?
I mean, regulation is going to be the biggest challenge we face next. We have to then build it into a product that people can interact with. That's a huge challenge, but regulation is going to probably, I would say, our biggest challenge. So we're going to work with a lot of, well-known engineering firms to go through the homologation, and then, it's selling it into a product that's a big deal.
Project a little in the future, do you see an agentic AI making an interaction with your autonomous vehicle, and in which term?
Yeah, absolutely. This is an agentic AI in itself, so because it's thinking about where it is and what it's doing, and we have to teach it how to drive, and then it has to figure out how to drive in all of these different spaces. So yes, it's going to be an agentic AI anyway. And then it's going to come to a factory and somebody's going to, some AI is going to deliver the box. And those two things have to figure out how to work together. So yeah, absolutely.
In which term do you see it?
It's a very good question. We are so early in our development that we have yet to kind of test those limits, those edge limits, but we're aware that that's coming and we'll work on it.
Last question.
I'll make it short. So what's your guess, what is the first use case you go for, the first market you go for? You must have an idea.
Yeah, we have it already in market for these kind of peripheral vehicles. So, as I said, in Amsterdam we've got an advertising vehicle that's driving around the city. It may even be stuff like, you know, bins, waste collection, stuff like that. So silent at night, those edge cases. Those are the sorts of things. Golf carts, those elements where we have low risk but kind of high dependency, and we can see those working where the risks are lower, people are more prepared to, and there is quite frankly less regulation.
All right, thank you very much.